Welcome back, everyone, to Aeos Clubhouse. This is Aeos Clubhouse for September 29th Mamoswine release. I'm Kyle Ferguson. Today I'm joined exclusively by Kaiberries. Welcome, Kaiberries.
Hello.
Mockery is AFK at the moment. He will join us if he can. But we are here to discuss the Pokémon Unite game that we are all playing and enjoying. This weekend went on a mad Cramorant bender, and it was so delightful.
Well, I played over the weekend anyway, entirely Eldegoss, because that's what I do, but now Mamoswine is out, so I played a lot of Pig.
Yes, the busy pig, he's interesting. I feel like my entire perspective is horribly off, though, because I might sing the praises of Cramorant like it's the best thing in the world. However, I did have my wife, Kristen, get into the game immensely this weekend. And I played on mobile. She was on our Switch. And I had a Crustle every game. So my Cramorant was always at least supported, or at least had something in front of it, which I think skewed everything. But also I spent my 30 charge specialty upgrade thing, super item enhancer, on getting my buddy barrier to max. And that bait and switch with Cramorant of like running away, being a kooky little bird, be like, no, I'm just kidding. And then you turn into a Gatling gun and shoot fish everywhere was so much fun.
I mean, it's really good. I love to have a Cramorant on my team. I think his damage is awesome. And his Unite move is just a game changer in late game team fights.
Yeah. It was really fun too, seeing Kristen get into it so much. The item enhancers, the super item enhancer, the free pass for 7 days of a 30 item. It just kind of
the try before you buy.
Yeah, it just made an environment that was really welcoming and a lot more fun in that way. And it was a great time to get into the game. Granted, mobile release, it's a great time to get in. It's not like we're 2 years into this game, but it was awesome to see. So I was on the phone all weekend, and my only complaint, I have lots I love about it. The pings are better, the attack controls are fine. There's some combos you can do even quicker, but the one thing I messed up the most is that your select ability was hovering over your eject button or item, but it's always an eject button, you know what I mean? So I constantly, when selecting my first ability of the game, accidentally hit my eject button.
Oh no.
And pointlessly teleported forward to nowhere. You were looking around for a frame come Friday. I checked your stream out. You were looking for a Ninetales frame, but it looks like that skin actually finally made it in the game.
Is it out? I think it doesn't come out till Friday.
Oh, okay.
Because that's actually how I discovered Mamoswine. Because when he came out last night, it was what we in NA might consider early, right? Because we thought he wasn't coming out till today, the 29th, and yesterday night was the 28th for us. And I was actually in the shop looking for the frame. Like, that's what I was there for in the first place. The skin, the Ninetales skin with the frame. So I was in there because someone in my chat was like, actually, I think it's out. So I was like, oh, I'll go check. And then there was Mamoswine. And it was like, wait a rootin' tootin' minute, you're not supposed to be here. But no, the Ninetales skin wasn't out yet as of yesterday.
Okay, so it's just up on Twitter. They were showing it off, not quite out yet.
Yeah, I think they just showed it off. From what I understand, it's Friday that it will be out, the Ninetales skin, and I will buy it. I play Ninetales a little bit when I flex damage, but mainly I just really want that portrait frame. It's so cute. It's pink and blue and it's got little snowflakes.
Sure, it goes well. You got a whole ensemble going on with the Slowbro ears and the
I'm very pink, so it goes
well themed. And the hotfix was super duper fast.
Even earlier than they said it was going to be. That was the crazy part. They were like, yeah, we'll have it out on Wednesday. And then on Monday, it was just, by the way, it's out.
So from our perspective, things have kind of come out, like midnight Pacific time. So we had the fix deployed, which was fixing a Crustle unintended strength boost. Everything's very vague when it comes to, in patch notes too. It's always been vague. But it's always going to be vague in video games in terms of bugs, because they don't want people reading a bug report and then saying, oh, how can I do this? My understanding was he was getting more Unite charge than he should have.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how either the Crustle bug or the Lucario bug, that was the other one they fixed. And I'm not 100% certain how either of them actually work. The Lucario one was with one of his abilities that you take. I know I've seen it because he was able to one-shot anybody in the game. Like straight up just walk up to a Snorlax and one-shot them. It was pretty crazy. But I don't know how people were executing that. But both of those bugs were fixed. So I guess it doesn't matter anymore what they were because they're gone.
Yeah, and as old school MOBA players, or perhaps just as we're starting to realize some of the difficulties with the StarCraft engine and Heroes of the Storm, Mamoswine just came out with without any reset, no one having to log in, log out. It just appeared suddenly.
Yeah, it literally in between games. He wasn't there, and then there he was.
Well, we're going to be talking pretty heavily about Mamoswine here and his entering into the stadium. But before we do that, we do want to take a moment and thank everyone who supports the show over at patreon.com/Aeos Clubhouse. This week, in particular, we want to thank Stompa, Chad R, and M and C. Thank you for supporting this show. We're very excited to have this up right now. The Patreon's doing amazing in its first month here. Thank you so much for all the support. Also, if you can't support us over there, follow us on Twitter, retweet the show, like the videos, give iTunes reviews. Everything helps out during this early time in Pokemon Unite to get the show out there into more eyeballs and more ear holes. So thank you, everybody, for helping out the show. But again, thank you to our supporters over at patreon.com/Aeos Clubhouse. I appreciate you trying a command in my chat. I do not have one.
Okay, it's okay.
Mamoswine enters the stadium. Their exact quote was, "Get ready to freeze the competition in their tracks with Mamoswine joining Pokemon Unite on the 29th, which was actually the 28th, but there's time changes and a whole world full of time zones, so it came out early for us."
One thing that was really funny when Mamoswine came out, I don't know if it's fixed today. I guess I should check. But last night, you know where you can go into just your Pokemon and just kind of just see them all? Not on like the character select in a game, but just like from the main menu. So Mamoswine had this bug where if you went in, there he was. And then if you went out and came back, then there were two. And then if you went out and came back again, there were three. And he would just keep duplicating. I actually made a TikTok of all things showing it when I had 3 of them, but I saw people with 4, 5, 6, 8 Mamoswines. It's all the Pokemon are listed like normal. There's Pikachu, there's Machamp, and then you just have 8 Mamoswines in a row. It was really funny.
That's awesome. Everything's coming up Mamoswine.
I mean, it's a pretty benign bug as far as bugs go, but it was cute.
It ain't hurting nobody, no. And certainly it sounds like it got fixed because it's no longer there, again, without taking down the game and the servers and all that.
That is impressive.
So there's a couple of things going around about Mamoswine you may have already heard. Some people are, much like Pikachu, saying that swine nub or swin nub, it's pronounced both ways in the community, but I think we kind of like the swine nub here.
I maybe I say it a completely different way because I would say sweenub, like a hard sweet.
Ooh,
yeah,
I like that.
Because I don't know, it just sounds cuter to me. He's so cute. He's adorable. And I just want his name to be as cute as he is. And swine nub doesn't sound as cute to my ears. So
no.
Viewers are going to have to be prepared for me to mispronounce it. I refuse to change.
I'm down with the swine nub. Plus, we always talk about the overall end Pokemon, the Blastoise. So the Mamoswine is what we eventually get to.
That's true. Usually just call him Memo at all times.
So in the few instances where we talk about Sweenub, we'll call it Sweenub because it's adorable. And he is just a little ball scooting his way along before he becomes, in his second evolution, Piloswine, who has a very like Hanna-Barbera vibe to him. Very, very old cartoon.
Long hair.
Yeah.
Very long hair. Got the long like bangs covering his eyes.
Which just makes the switch to Mamoswine shocking. The eyes are available. The model is massive, and it's honestly a little too much.
The eyes are filled with rage. Also, he's always got the angry eyebrows going. Like once you see him, he also, I believe, is the largest model in the game now.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I believe he is bigger than Snorlax. So he's a big boy. He's bigger than Blastoise. He's bigger than Blissey, all the others. I'm pretty sure he's bigger than Snorlax. He's very large.
I wonder if that's related to the hitbox as well. I know.
I believe so, because if you remember last week, one of their fixes was actually Crustle's hitbox not being as large as it should be, and they made it bigger. So I would assume he has a gigandomous hitbox, at least once he's fully evolved.
So this is a 3 evolution style Pokemon. We got a melee defender, which they're really filling out those defenders pretty drastically, pretty quickly here. And I think everyone's kind of feeling that while you might miss a support or a little bit of heals on your team with the goal-based system in game, it is darn important to have some defenders around to keep those goals from just getting dunked on 24/7.
Yeah, if I have to choose between not having a healer and not having a tank, not having a support, not having a defender, I would rather not have a healer. And I do have to choose between those from time to time because I always go to play heals, but if nobody's going to tank, I'll switch to tank. And before I had played Blastoise, and now I've been switching between Mamo and Blastoise. I like Mamoswine, he's fun, but I do think having defenders that people are willing to play is important because that's probably the most important role. Maybe jungle is the most important and defender can come second, but it's important. It's real important.
Yeah, jungle's kind of like it's a free real estate sort of problem. There's just so much XP to get there that not having it covered is a shame.
Right, and those are going to be your people in the late game that are like securing kills and team fights. So you do have to have one of those, and you have to have a good one of those, but you need like a front line for them too. Like you can't imagine somebody like Zeraora or Gengar trying to go in, but they don't have a tank there to set up CC or, to front line for them is kind of important.
I've been doing the exact same too. I thought I could like switch around with Blissey, you running the focus band, getting some defense on, using shield to kind of cover for the big for the lower health pools that the heal wouldn't be as drastic into. Or I guess it is size wise, but you know what I mean. Increasing the overall health of an assassin is probably a better idea. But it just wasn't working out. And I found myself going towards Crustle and that sort of thing. So I am excited to get more Mamoswining in. They are a physical attacker, so should you need items of that kind, of course, we do need to, differentiate those two things. And the stats are good. Health-wise, they have overall starting health higher than Blastoise, but their attack is going to be slightly above, but defenses are lower. And I think that's what people are really kind of feeling is even though those numbers are like 15 lower than Blastoise, when it comes to special defense, you're only 5 lower. Everyone getting immediately to Mamoswine is going, oh my goodness, I feel squishy, even with this big health bar.
He can. I mean, what we're showing on screen there, I was getting beat up by a Squirtle. Like these things happen. He has a lot of control. Also, everything he does provides CC in some way. So there has to be a balance, right? In those kind of like, in where that power is coming from. So if you have that much control in a team fight, he also has a ton of AoE damage. You have to give up something somewhere. So you can't also be unkillable at the same time.
So were you actually able to, with some sort of combination, perform a stun lock of any degree?
Not so much a stun. So what I found that I like for his talents is Icicle Crash and Earthquake. And what I like to do is start with the Icicle Crash. So use your joystick, or if you're a mobile player, use your finger and toss the Icicle Crash in the middle of a team fight, and then Earthquake on top of it. So the way Earthquake works is it's not just around you, you can target it and he belly flops to the location. So then when you flop in with the belly flop, it does like a little knock up mini stun thing, and that will hold them in place long enough to get the freeze from the third crash of Icicle Crash.
Oh.
And that's a bunch of AoE damage and not a full stun lock, but it's a long enough CC that somebody's gonna pop off in that time.
Interesting. I like that combination. From what I've seen of the Reddit, everyone's all on the high horsepower, which is a
Yeah,
very odd name for a mammoth.
I didn't really like high horsepower, and I really don't like Ice Fang at all. I don't like Ice Fang at all. I have a game that I sent to you playing at one of these, but I didn't like it. High horsepower is okay, but that right there feels kind of awkward. So he charges in, and then at the end of the charge, he does like an extra little pushy flippy thing. And you can certainly use that to set up CC and use that combo. But in actual games versus people that like move around, it didn't feel super great, especially because they have time to react in between. Like they're not fully stunned for the full duration. So a lot of the times, like you would charge in and then they would just like flash out before the second hit ever actually hit or anything. Or I would get CC'd because you're not invulnerable during that. So I would like charge in, and then before he got to do the second slam, I would get hit by something and get knocked out of it. Same with Ice Fang, actually. It's super short range and it's not a stun at the start, so people would just walk away from it. I just really didn't like either of them, but I was having a really good time with Earthquake, Icicle Crash. I got that combo idea from another streamer, A Drive, tweeted it, and he was like, "This is how I'm playing Mamoswine." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna try it." After I had been trying to use Icicle Fang like the whole night, and because I played Mamoswine for like a good like 6 hours, and I was starting with Ice Fang, and I was not getting anywhere with it, and I still don't like it. And then I saw this tweet to try the other two, and I had a way better time. You can also clear like nobody's business if you have Earthquake and Icicle Crash. They're both big AoE, and for things like bees where they don't move and you can just drop both big AoE damages on them. I know for a tank, what kind of clear you have isn't super important, but he can clear an entire like wave of bees in 2 abilities.
I mean, it is very important. That's less time. We've seen that with the Crustle, just like the ability to keep moving and be other places while still taking advantage of all the wild Pokemon is huge.
Yeah, he can boom boom clear.
I think it's interesting that the high horsepower charge is so clunky, because now we're in a world where we've seen Blastoise, we've seen what Surf can do, and the ability to choose where you go at the end of it, and all these sort of slick moves. Anything in these MOBAs, in any MOBA, is purposefully clunky. They want it to be this bad. To put it that way.
I definitely, because I play Surf on Blastoise. I play Surf Hydro Pump, so I'm a Surf enjoyer, and it does not feel as smooth or as nice as a Surf on Blastoise, like at all.
Interesting. Well, let's get to some of these basic abilities here. You mentioned the basic attack, which, it sounds like the damage is a little more tame for, but still pretty impressive. Become a boosted attack every third attack, dealing damage to the opponent and stunning them. Is it big? Is it big enough?
It's like Ninetales' freeze, right?
Okay.
Where after a couple hits it freezes, really similar, but not as quick because his attack speed is pretty slow. So the CC isn't as reliable, but it definitely happens. But I guess this is more thick fat for his passive. But which naming it thick fat feels so mean spirited. But okay. Again, shout out to A Drive being so smart and talented. But he tweeted that if you run Muscle Band, Focus Band, Buddy Barrier, which is what I'm running. I didn't run Score Shield with him. The Muscle Band can activate 2 thick fat in 1 basic attack, which is pretty cool.
Thick fat. Every time the Pokemon deals damage, its defense and special defense are increased for a short time, up to 3 times. Okay, so that speaks to a slightly lower overall defense they might have next to things like Blastoise. When the Pokemon uses Ice Shard, Icicle Crash, or Ice Fang, its next basic attack becomes a boosted attack. In addition, if any of these moves create a freezing area of effect inside an ally goal zone, it decreases the goal scoring speed of the opposing Pokemon inside that goal. That is that's a thick, fat comment. That is a lot. It
is thick. Yeah, it's a thick ability. That goal zone thing is actually kind of neat, though. Now, if people are running like if it's post like Zapdos, where it's instant turn-ins, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, good to
But
know.
but you kind of could have saw it a second ago for the people watching the stream. You saw how the score zone was frozen, like the circle above it was blue and icy. That's that taking effect. And that's how you know when that's happening. I didn't even notice it during the game. I didn't see it until I was watching and editing videos after. But when you're defending on your own, when you're defending your own score zone and your passive hits, the zone freezes and then it slows enemy abilities to turn in. So however long it would have taken them to score, it takes longer. So it becomes almost impossible for them to turn in. It gives you way more time to like chew through score shields and stuff. It's pretty neat. He's really good at defending friendly goals.
Yeah.
And then like you were saying, he can boost up his own defense and special defense to make him less squishy as well.
I mean, first of all, I didn't think we'd have abilities that were directly affecting goal zones, which makes me think, how could you affect an enemy goal zone? Could you make it dangerous? Could you put it on fire? Could you make it dangerous for them to even hang out in there and want to defend? I mean, this is definitely a defensive go, but yeah, the idea that that you can increase the turn-in time for a score shield user in what we're seeing in a lot of current metas. Like I saw Snorlax Blissey, who had no interest in anything else but scoring, and they'd maybe kill like 1B of the 4 and then go turn it in together. And then 1B of the 4 and then go turn it in together. I'm not sure if they were farming XP, but we couldn't do anything about it in the early game. And Mamoswine would be a counter. Well, it'd be a blind counter though, because there's no draft. So maybe I'm getting
right.
ahead of myself.
You don't know that it's going to happen, but it is neat. Yeah, people trying to sneak those really really fast turn-ins. You make them not really really fast, so you have time to interrupt them. It's cool. It takes a little, I guess, getting used to be like cognizant of like I need to stand in my goal. I need to drop my ice in my goal. But once you start to get in the groove with that, he defends really well. And then if you're attacking a Mamoswine, fight and you want to try to do those quick turn-ins, like we use turn-ins sometimes to like heal ourselves, right? Even if you're only turning in 4 or 5, it gives you a heal. That's a lot harder to do with a Mamoswine there, because that 2-second turn-in becomes whatever it becomes, 6 seconds.
Interesting. The next thing I was curious about after reading this ability is, wait, can I do a full-blown like goal denial build? And not really. Your Ice Shard is going to be your starting ability, and then at level 6 you will pick Icicle Crash or Ice Fang. So no matter what, you will have one ability that does this goal zone thing. There's no way to stack them and have multiple.
Yeah, you can't do full ice, only ice.
Which is interesting. It'd be an interesting idea, but yeah, you're divided between. He's Ice Earth, correct? Would be.
Yeah.
The divide.
Ice ground.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be the high horsepower and the earthquake. Perfect. Your starting abilities, and again, I've heard from multiple people that they just want to stay small the whole game because these abilities are the best, like Pikachu. Ice Shard, hurl 3 chunks of ice in a designated location, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon in an area of effect and decreasing their movement speed for a short time. If an opposing Pokemon is hit by all 3 chunks, it's left frozen for a short amount of time. And then Tackle has the user rush recklessly, they had to throw that in, into the designated direction, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon hits and throwing them.
Yeah, just like Squirtle's baby Tackle at the start.
Did you find that just a really, really good kit, or is that more of a Reddit meme?
That's fine at the start. Much like Squirtle, I think I use Tackle as often to run away as I do to engage, because when you're small, yeah, we've said it before, the 3-stage evolution Pokemon are pretty weak when they're babies, right? So Suinub is no different. He is not super tanky or super strong when he's Weebab. So using that Tackle to get away often works. I do like having the AoE though right at the start. It helps clear.
I know you're currently in the videos we're watching here playing on Switch. Have you tried him out on mobile?
No, I have only played him on Switch.
Okay. I found particularly doing the Cramorant dive and other sort of runaway abilities that may not be used for runaway are really crazy easy to use on mobile, because you hold down the button for that ability and then it gives you a radius that you draw your thumb out from.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was playing on stream last night and I don't have my phone stream set up. anymore. I did in the past too for a different mobile game, and then when I wasn't playing it anymore, I don't have it set up anymore. So if I'm streaming, it's always on my Switch
It's
at the present moment.
it's interesting. I wonder how many of these abilities are going to be easier to do, such as I've heard that Ice Fang, the level 6 ability on mobile, allows you to do a switcheroo using eject button.
Oh,
So to get to the Ice Fang ability at level 6, one of your options, use Cold Infused Fang. Wait, fangs? Are they not
yeah,
tusks?
they're tusks. It's the
Oh,
wording there is interesting. They are certainly tusks.
are tusks? They come from the mouth. Are
Yeah,
tusks fangs?
I wouldn't label them as fangs, but apparently Pokemon does.
I would say the dividing factor would be that fangs point down and tusks point
Yeah,
up.
or I would agree that fangs are from the top and tusks
Yeah.
are from the bottom, and these are most certainly tusks. But
No, don't worry. It's called Ice Fang, and I guess it was probably called that in the video game. So too late.
we can't call it ice tusk. It's illegal.
It's canon now. We can't change it. Dealing damage and leaving the Pokemon frozen for a short time. The user can then designate a direction to slam the thrown Pokemon forward or backward, dealing damage to the opposing Pokemon in an area effect and leaving them frozen for a short time. So what you can do, easier to do on mobile here because your fingers are right next to each other and the buttons are just laid out in such a way that you can, while picking them up, eject button them to another place and then put them down.
That's funny. You can, even without that, with Ice Fang, like Omega Molecule was pointing out in the chat as well, you can change the direction of where you flip them, of which way you suplex them. You can throw them behind you, in front of you. You could use the other thumbstick to flip them in any direction. It feels awkward though to flip them any way but forward. But it is doable. It's probably easier to do that on mobile, like without the joysticks. Maybe that feels a little snappier, being able to just use your finger. But kind of like as we have to harken back to Heroes of the Storm, we're like contractually obligated, like Garrosh's throw. It's kind of similar to that. You can toss them anywhere.
Now, to be fair, I did the survey this week for coins and tickets, and they did mention Heroes of the Storm as one of my checkboxes.
So,
so they know.
Look at that.
Yeah, they know. There was also an option where did you get this knowledge? And I very much appreciate everybody who tweeted us that they put in this podcast as the other option. Very cool. But Icicle Crash was the one that you really gravitated towards. Drop icicles on the designated location, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon in the area effect, decreasing their movement speed for a short time. The final icicle shatters after a set amount of time, or when it's hit by the user's other moves or boosted attack. Ooh. Dealing damage to the opposing Pokemon in area effect and leaving them frozen. If the icicle is shattered by tackle or high horsepower, the ground is covered in ice, which increases the movement speed of allied Pokemon that run over it.
Yeah, so if you're going to do Icicle Crash high horsepower, start with the Icicle Crash and then high horsepower into it to make the slip and slide.
That's really cool. Just thematically, that the icicle there that is about to explode graphically doesn't look like it's interactable, but it is.
It is if you're the one that runs into it, yeah.
So if someone else was to deal damage in the area, you're not gonna get anything from that.
Right. The only thing that interacts with that icicle is if you charge into it with high horsepower. But that was another one. I don't know, just felt a little awkward to me, but definitely space to make a lot of cool combos there, especially that the allied Pokemon run faster in the slip and slide zone. That's pretty neat. The same way I don't like Leaf Tornado with Eldegoss, when you're playing as solo queue with randoms, it always feels so hit or miss when you take things like that your allies have to take advantage of, and they just don't. Right? They just don't. Like, you can drop a Leaf Tornado that gives them movement speed and they could use that to secure a kill, and they avoid it. Like, it frightens them and they don't want to go there. And you're like, ah. And it's the same thing with that. You make the slip and slide and you're like, go, my friends. And they go around it. Like, they think it's danger ice. They don't want to be there.
That's fair. I mean, when it comes to like Green Wind, Zelda games, many other RPGs have taught me that green wind is puzzle solving. You go on this to increase your speed and wear your hover boots and you will solve puzzles. So I'm all for
Sure.
riding
And if
that.
you saw a big patch of ice on the ground, you probably wouldn't. Your first thought wouldn't be, "I'm gonna jump in it." But
Right.
actually,
This will increase my movement speed. In fact, Nintendo, you've taught us that while our movement speed may increase, we will now be all slippy slidey and we're going to fall off the edge of the Mario map.
exactly. And in this one, it's you go, you slide, you go. So I didn't have great experience with that either, which I ended up going with Icicle Crash Earthquake because they were the most reliable and that I could get value out of them. I didn't have to rely on my teammates to use them or not use them. And they're very easy to use, especially with the Switch controls. It's pretty, you just plop them down.
Yeah, it sounds like much like we saw with the spinny shell, rapid spin
Yeah.
on Blastoise. You kind of are forced to go a weird build early on to almost make that work in comparison to stuff like Surf. And here with the Icicle Crash forcing the horsepower perhaps in that way, like you get this bonus of, yeah, you're clunky, but in your clunk you've now provided some makeup speed, but probably not as powerful as the Earth. So you said you did the Icicle Crash Earthquake then to create kind of a double whammy area zone and not worry about breaking the business.
I am always a fan of what I call in HOTS brain dead builds. Anything that you can do that will get you great value, great returns with the least amount of effort or requiring like complicated combos or action from your teammates. Like you don't have to do anything together. Like if you can just puke out these abilities and get good value, good results, that's always what I'm for, because that's in the kind of games that I'm playing in, that feels like that's what services me the best. Like the horsepower into the Icicle Crash is really cool when it works and it's very flashy. And I bet in a coordinated team that can use that like movement speed bonus, especially to secure kills or do cool stuff, I bet that's awesome. But that's not what you see in the majority of random games. Like never in standard and even in ladder. Like it just does. I don't see that ever. So for me, the most bang for the buck I can get, the most punch I can get was the CC and damage in a big circle on the ground. And it does feel really good, especially on like Dreadnought and Zapdos, where everybody's kind of in one area and you just make that area awful for them.
Plus, your Unite move kind of lends that your tank in the first place.
The big belly flop. Oh, it's so funny. It's so cute. He just starts flopping, like he just starts belly flopping, blom, blom, blom. It's great. But yeah, same thing, just all in this one big pile of just, you do not want to be here.
A Cloud9 player by the name of Dunk Train put it in a elegant way that I like to call it the burden of execution.
Ah, yes.
You get out your pointer and you look at the board. The burden of execution is too high on these fancy moves. Let's just pile on loud noise and win the game.
Yeah, it worked for me. My win rate with him was pretty good. I felt good playing him and that I was impactful in a lot of fights. A lot of the times I would find in fights, especially on Zapdos. Sorry, I activated my Amazon Alexa somehow there. She wanted to tell me about atmospheric something. But anyway, I would find like on the Zapdos fight where everybody's on top of Zapdos trying to get that last hit, throwing in the ice, throwing in the earthquake, and then Unite moving on top of it, flopping up and down. You've got your thick, fat defense procking all over the place. Often I was the only one on my team that would get knocked out. They can't get past you. They can't get around this just zone of inconvenience that you have created.
And maybe a little helpful, but tank job done. You had the bigger health pool.
I know. I felt great about it too. Like we get a 5-man team wipe on Zapdos where I'm the only one that went down. That's awesome. In choke points too, it's just like you're just this big inconvenient thing that the enemy team has to deal with. They can't walk past you. They can't walk past all of the ice. They can't walk past the earthquake.
Oh, is the Icicle Crash a body block effect?
No, it's just slow. It's just slow.
Just
so they could try to slog through it, but it's not going to happen. So, and it's big. It's a big circle. It's almost the entire size of the Zapdos arena there. So they can't just ignore you. They can't just walk past you. Sometimes I feel like that when there's like a slow bro as the enemy tank, if he doesn't have telekinesis or he's already used it, you just walk past him. What is he going to do about it?
Well, and Rapid Spin actually resets your abilities, so it's not as expensive. Doing a combo with your Icicle Crash and High Horsepower costs 2 abilities. And if they both miss for one effect, that's not going to be any good. So you would actually have a more dynamic play style with this Earthquake Pylon in that way, able to use them separately when needed.
I definitely have fun with it, but there's a lot of like other combos that he has, and there's definitely a lot of room to try other things, like with the slip and slide, like with the Garrosh toss off of Ice Fang. Like you can do a lot of cool things. So it's definitely worth trying playing him a few times and seeing what combination of buttons you like, because he has options. He has a lot of options. His abilities all interact with each other differently.
Very cool. Let's take a look at those level 8 abilities here. The high horsepower we've been talking about has the user rush recklessly. Wait, recklessly again? Yeah, I guess our tackle is
reckless.
Yeah, he's a reckless swine. Designate direction, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon. It hits and shoves them. The user then stomps its feet, deals damage to the opposing Pokemon, an area effect, and leaves them unable to act for a short time. This stomping deals increased damage to frozen Pokemon? Oh.
Either freezing like from his basic attacks.
But is this freezing the same freezing that Ninetales brings?
So I don't know. I've seen people say yes and no.
Okay.
So I don't know. My first like thoughts were yes, I would assume, because it's similar, it's the exact same ability, right? And I saw people on Twitter saying that yes, but then I also saw people on Twitter saying no, they're separate freezes, they don't count. So I don't know.
Okay.
My gut tells me yes, though. They should, because they're the same thing. Similar to how like Gengar, any poison will work for Gengar's resets, right? It doesn't have to be his own poison.
Yeah, exactly. And I would think that they would apply, there'd be a keyword like Mamoswine freezes, but it looks like chat is saying we need to take a look at damage to frozen Pokemon from the actual ability. So it might actually be the abilities designate the frozen keyword.
Yeah, I don't have a definitive answer. I do not know.
Okay, chat is saying that no, you wouldn't get the ability from other ability because it would be his frozen that's mattering here. But the move you fell in love with was Earthquake, has the user leap in the direction and then land forcefully, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon, an area effect, and pulling them towards the user. It's got kind of a vacuum.
like a little mini gravel bomb,
Yeah. So a little bit of reposition there, in addition to all the noise you're causing.
You can use it to kind of run away to give yourself space. It's a little slow. I don't know if I'd recommend using it as an escape, but in an emergency, you kind of can, because you belly flop in whatever direction you pick.
And then the Unite move, a Mammoth Mash, has the user jump to the designated location, become immune to hindrances, so unstoppable. The user then repeatedly stomps the ground, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon in an area effect, and decreasing their movement speed for a short time with each stomp. The final stomp throws the opposing Pokemon in the area of effect.
It's very fun. It feels very good. It's not a stomp though. It's a full-on belly flop. When he it's the same with Earthquake, where he just like flings himself, legs spread out, spread eagle akimbo. It's the same thing. I might do it here on stream in a sec, and it's just hilarious, and it feels very good and strong when you use it.
It's
definite
joyous.
Buddy barrier recommend though, because if you're in the middle of their team doing that, you probably want that shield.
So let's talk about that here as we've gotten to the end of all the abilities. Definitely a buddy barrier, slam and team fight kind of guy. You got 2 more items. What'd you go with?
Focus Band and Muscle Band.
Okay, so the physical attacks. This is a physical attacker and not a special attacker, and then just more defense to kind of shore up your tank job.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. The double bands.
That was a recommendation. Originally I was doing I think it was Muscle Band Score Shield Buddy Barrier, and that same string of tweets from A Drive. He says that Muscle Band activates 2 thick fat passive in 1 basic attack. I didn't do the math on this. I didn't test it. I just sure, if that's what he said, let's do it.
Wait, what does double thick fat mean?
His trait, his passive,
Yeah,
where he gets the special defense.
So why would the item double it?
I believe it stacks it faster. Is what he's saying.
Oh, because thick fat increases the defense. Oh, and if you have higher defense, you'd be increasing your overall defense. So you actually, yeah, okay. Okay, I can see it. I get it.
I don't argue. I just I didn't feel like I was getting great. I didn't feel like I was getting great returns out of Score Shield. I wasn't like running in to do little turn-ins, because especially in the early game, I felt pretty vulnerable. And I saw this and I was like, sounds good. Slap it on. Bands. Let's go. We'll put 1 band on each tusk.
Yeah. That'd be very sporty of Mamoswine. Well, that's great.
Speaking of sporty, hold up. So you notice all those skins that we got, the sporty skins, the different like jersey skins, and like they've got like sweatbands and stuff on their head.
Yeah, didn't get a lot of fanfare for those.
No, and also Mamoswine didn't get one. He released without a skin at all. What the heck?
Isn't Cressel still skin free?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I guess you could have a big old band around that huge bit of crust. That'd be great.
That'd be funny. Yeah, I mean, Eldegoss has 2, where she's got a giant sweatband around her cotton puff. It's really silly looking.
I watched a documentary about the Edwardian period last night, and they said that crust on items was made so people could hold it without eating the dirty bits. You're not supposed to eat the crust.
Oh.
I know. It was all wrong. It's all wrong.
I guess I was right when I was a kid and I said I wanted my crust cut off.
I know, but
I was doing it right the whole time.
But then there's pizza in the world, and everything got confusing. There was a official composition guide release, or at least the Pokemon website's been putting together guides for this game, which is rather interesting. Particularly going through an era of maybe more Blizzard Entertainment games where they almost seem afraid to inform the meta in any way. The Pokemon Company does not have this fear, it seems. And they have consulted here. Let me get the name. This was George Goof Gerbhardt, a 15-year MOBA style player who went over some various comps and team layouts that you could use at home. This was a well-rounded aggressive team, a quick draw dreadnought team, and a solar beam team, and you can kind of guess what all those are about. Either way, they went over which abilities should be picked for these various Pokemon that would go into this lineup, and then what their basic strategy would be, as well as their items. When it came to battle item, every single item was the eject button.
Yeah. Does anyone not run eject button? Like, is there anyone?
I think there's like X special curious people who get really excited that maybe they could just own with a bunch of spell power and then realize the error of their ways and go back to eject button.
Yeah, I don't know. I there's not a single Pokemon I don't run eject button on, and I don't think I could live without it. And that's true in most MOBAs, right? Flash, Bolt of the Storm. If it's available, you're always going to take it. That instant snap mobility is just too powerful to not take.
Yeah, the only the distinction would be like Dota, where the expense of getting the teleport dagger is so high that you can only run it on certain, junglers and things of that note. Like really extreme situations where you might go with that on every character. But here, I've tried many times. Like I even tried with Cramorant again this week. I was using Dive. You get like 3 charges of Dive. You're diving all the time. You're basically eject buttoning whenever you want. But having a 4th eject button was still
you can't have
really
too much mobility.
Nice. Yeah.
There's no such thing as having too much mobility where you're like, you know what? I wish I was less mobile. No one says this. Like, you want that mobility.
They also ran through 3 different comps involving 5 Pokemon each. And the doubles that they listed were Lucario, Eldegoss, Snorlax, Ninetales, and Wigglytuff. Ninetales being a rather powerful enabler of getting some of these melees connected like Lucario. The single notes were Cinderace, Blissey, Zeraora, Greninja, and Venusaur. So if you're not on that list, yeah, apparently you ain't meta.
Yeah, and I think he pointed out too that this wasn't an exhaustive list of all comps, right? This was just here you go. Here's some comps you could try that are good. But I do agree with a lot of it, especially Eldegoss Lucario, because I main Eldegoss, and it just makes my day when I see a Lucario in my lane. I'm like, yes, this is a good day.
Something with that much throughput and mobility to take care of is just really good to have.
Our early game is just like secured at that moment. I'm like, okay, here we go. We're gonna do stuff. We're gonna make moves. The opposite, when I have anybody else and the enemy team has the Lucario, I'm like, well, I guess I'm like, we're not getting our farm today, are we? We're gonna have all of our dinos stolen, aren't we? He's just really hard to deal with in the early game. He's very mobile. He does a ton of damage. He's very mobile, and his survivability is really good, especially in the early game. Like, he can live through a lot of crap. He does a ton of damage. He can zip in and zip out as the stupid bone. He's gonna bully you off of all your farm.
He runs anime style. It's all you need.
Yeah, he's got his Naruto run. Like, I don't know what to do about that. So if you're a Lucario main, bless you. And I really hope you go bottom with your healer. I know a lot of people on Lucario want to jungle, but there's other people who can jungle just as well or better, but not really anyone who can bottom lane carry as well. Like, he's the best at that. Like, you are better than everyone at that.
I agree, certainly. It not only does he not evolve, so he's not limited to levels in that way, he just doesn't need other abilities. His starting kit seems really solid when properly supported in any regard. I mean, I found that out with Cramorant when I was running with Kristen and doing the Crustle Cramorant thing. It was great. Played a game of Cramorant by myself. I would rather be Greninja, because Greninja just had almost the same range, if not the exact same range, which was huge. I didn't know this on Greninja until I played this weekend. They're always in my face, so I figured they must be tiny little melee boys, or, you know, with little water shurikens. No, they've got great range. They've got tons of escape and lots of other forms of mobility and trickery. And it was a really great hero and Pokemon when I didn't know what I was going to get on my team. So I actually got super into that this weekend as well.
Yeah, it's part of why I like Eldegoss over Blissey, because I don't have to worry about what my teammates are up to. You see the ring is frozen there? That's when you know that your trait is freezing the turn-in for the people viewing the stream. Sorry, audio listeners.
No, I'm really excited that ability was showcased, because it means there's that many more items. I mean, we haven't seen anybody interact with bushes yet in this game. There could be all sorts of things we haven't even thought of, and certainly turn-ins.
What if we get a brush stalker? What if we get someone that can teleport to bushes?
I mean, it's basically required. It's required because you're always walking in bushes in Pokemon. There's got to be something that happens in those bushes. And would that be like the Caterpie or the Pidgey? Because that's what you're always finding in those bushes all the time in the early game. At least everyone has played probably to the first gym, right?
I would imagine.
I would hope so. I mean, I don't know. I don't know a lot of people who played just the first gym and said, you know what? I'm not really into this. You either got that far or you just didn't invest in the first place. Let's get to
who I would think is okay, go.
No. Well, write into the show at Aeos Clubhouse at gmail.com if you know the exact specialty Pokemon who should be in those bushes and get special bush abilities.
Yeah, wait, no, I know who it is though.
Okay.
It's the chameleon who is invisible. I have to actually look up his name.
That would be... Oh, geez. Kellyan?
I can't spell, so I keep getting Charmeleon, and I'm like, no, please.
I think we got Kellyan, but I'm not sure I'm saying that.
Kecleon.
There we go.
Kecleon. It's gotta be Kecleon. Since he can be invisible, he could be invisible in the bush. He could port to the bushes. That's my pick. You have to mail in your pick, viewers. Who do you think it's gonna be?
Exactly. And speaking of emails, we're going to head that way now. Tactical Torterra asks, do you feel it is necessary for a defender or support Pokemon to be on every team?
Yes.
But
that's easy. Yes. Yes, I do.
and we even went over earlier, if you had to pick one or two, it sounds like we're both leaning towards defender. Yeah.
I think a defender you have to have. A support Pokemon is nice, especially either Blissey or Eldegoss. Having a healer specifically is good. And if I'm there, generally you're going to have one. But when it comes down to it, if I have to pick between a defender or a support, it's going to be a defender. I think having a tank is mandatory.
So would you, and this is just for experiment's sake, change your tone if you had a Lucario with a master's portrait saying, I'm going bottom lane, and you had to choose between healer or defender?
No, I'd still take the defender.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Combining ideas there. Mr. Batfleck asks, my question is about upgrading items. With the recent level 30 enhancers we got, which 3 items did you prioritize to max out?
Okay, I maxed out Buddy Barrier immediately. Just slam it because I use that on every Pokemon. I believe I maxed out. I always get the 2 bands, Focus Band and Muscle Band. I think it was Muscle Band though. I maxed out because I use that on a lot of Pokemon, and I'm saving the 3rd one. I'm paralyzed with choices, and I don't know what I want to use it on. So I've saved the 3rd one. I haven't used it yet.
Oh, so wait, what was your second one you used then?
I think Muscle Barrier. I think it was Muscle Barrier or Muscle Band. Sorry, Muscle Band.
Okay. Yeah, lots of attackers and stuff like that. Oh, I definitely went Buddy Barrier. I got something like 537 enhancers back using that on a level 20 item already, which was fabulous. And then I've just been sitting on the other 2. I'm kind of frozen in the idea, one, the Floatstone debacle when we first started the show. And everyone's like, Floatstone. And we were all wrong. But then I'm really curious if stuff like that Razor Claw is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if there's going to be new stuff. So I saved 1, and then I have a bunch of enhancers as well, where I probably could get another item 230, but I'm waiting. I'm in a holding pattern. I got the 2 items I use most to 30, and now I'm just kind of holding off. I don't know yet. But Buddy Barrier was the instant, no questions asked. Just send it as soon as you could.
Yeah, it'd have to be a pretty major nerf. I wonder if they went through on a nerf of massive proportions, if they'd give us back our enhancers.
I would hope so. If they completely reworked an item or nerfed it into the ground.
Yeah.
I would hope they would, since people could have theoretically put real life money into those. It would be kind of uncool to fundamentally change them, to fundamentally change your purchase and not give you some kind of refund.
It seems like such a
Or
safe
now that
bet,
they have these get an item to 30 things, they could just toss you one of those too.
That'd be really good. That'd be amazing.
They'd be like, yeah, they'd be like, yeah, we killed Buddy Barrier. Here's one of these level 30ers to get you something else. That would feel okay.
I think for me, the Focus Band is where I would go next, just because Raw Defense is going to be my most frequent equip. But I'm not. I feel like a lot of score shields were enhanced this week, just by what I was seeing out in the field.
I've left mine at 20. I only use it on Blastoise, so it didn't feel worth it to me. But I bet there's a lot of people who did. All you Crustle players, Snorlax players, they're out there.
Yeah, I've been running it on my Gengar just to get rid of my points, because I so often just find myself.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, anybody who, or junglers who build up a lot of energy all the time, they just want to go dump it. That makes sense too.
So sounds like Buddy Barrier, and we're all probably waiting. I'd be really interested to see the stats on that in kind of an API way as to who has enhanced what so far. Actually, looking back at this, I'm gonna look at that guide that was put up real quick here. We got score shields for Lucario, focus bands, attack weight actually there. This is actually a little. So one interesting thing about this, I didn't really look at it in advance here, is that they tend to have a Lucario without Buddy Barrier. And then the rest of them have Buddy Barrier, almost making up for the fact that Lucario isn't running it. Which kind of makes sense because Lucario's, NA Arrow, as we've called it, as we've labeled it as top tier NA Arrow here, is often launched so far back or in such odd situations, even as an engage opener or some sort of snipe. Maybe Lucario doesn't need a Buddy Barrier. And that way, if you're out there maining the Lucario, rely on others to get that shield.
I love it with Eldegoss Buddy Barrier so much because I go up to them, slam my ult, they get the Buddy Barrier, then I crash down, they get the giant heal. I feel like I can save someone from anything.
Oh, yeah, because the Buddy Barrier part would be instant on an ability that's otherwise
exactly.
delay.
You get the Buddy Barrier right away, but with Eldegoss's heal, you got to go up in the air and then come back down is when they get the heal. So there's like a little bit of a lag before you get the actual heal, but to Buddy Barrier, it puts like the Band-Aid on before the heal comes down. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good combo. Well, thank you for writing in, everybody. We get lots of emails. Many of them, because this game is moving so fast, are often covered by the actual show. Like, we got emails asking, what's your thoughts on the upcoming Mamoswine? Well, we came out.
Here he is. Yeah, it's great.
But some of those emails are also saved for bonus email episodes that we're putting together and hoping to reach very soon over at patreon.com/Aeos Clubhouse. Thank you, everyone, again for supporting the show via patreon.com, using those hard-earned dollars to support us. $1 a show is all we ask. It helps out the show immensely and future content that we would like to put together. When Mockery is here, you can find him at twitch.tv/MockeryTV, and he just put up a new YouTube channel where he's watching replays via the spectator feature, which is pretty awesome, and getting some tips for y'all out of there. Probably best place to find that link right now, as it is a brand new channel, is go to twitter.com/Aeos Clubhouse and find our Discord there. You can also find a Discord link in the description of the show, as well as the show notes, which give you all the sort of nitty gritty of what we've covered over the show today. But join our Discord, hang out with awesome people there. Also, bonus for our patrons, we put up a Unite Squad, and lots of people have been joining up that who support the show and finding games to play with each other over there. Kai Berries, when you're not on the show, where can you be found?
Hey, I am found everywhere on the internet at Kaiberries, K-I-Y-E Berries, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, those all start with T. And then YouTube as well. I have 2 YouTube channels, one just for Pokemon Unite and one just for Heroes of the Storm. So you can get all your MOBA fixes, whatever flavor that you like there. We've got it. I'd love to see people come in. I'll be playing Unite again later today. Maybe we'll get some more Mamoswine in. And what about you, Kyle Ferguson?
Well, you can find me over at kyleferguson.com.
And how many S's are in that?
2 S's. In Ferguson.
Bobby's not here, so I had to pick it up.
I appreciate it. Well done. Well done. Twitch.tv/Kyle Ferguson, where I play Heroes of the Storm, as well as Pokemon Unite and some Final Fantasy 14 at the moment, too. All sorts of gaming going on over there. But the whole show, RSS feed, all the links can be found at kyleferguson.com. We thank you all for listening to the show, for supporting however you can. We'll see y'all soon, and that would be next week. Bye now.
See you guys next week. Thank you for being here.